Hey guys, Greg here from Artist Reset. Before we get into today's video, I just kind of wanted to open up about what this video is about, where Hildebrand Part 3 is, and some stuff to be excited for in the future. So let's get to talking. First of all, today was supposed to be Hildebrand Part 3. To not bore you guys with details and have like a 20-minute video about it, video's just not fully ready. There's some more stuff, more touches that need to be added to it, and we didn't want to half-ass the video, so we're going to give ourselves the extra week, really fine-tune the video, and put out an incredible video for you guys. Just on the raw recording alone, before we started editing it, it was super insane and incredible, and it's the end of that first arc of Hildebrand Quest, which people who've played 14 know how that first arc ends and kind of how ridiculous it gets, and it's pretty great. A lot of great gags, a lot of great jokes, a lot of great goofs, and it's really exciting, and we want to put that out as best as possible. So in its place, it's going to be the video that was going to come out next week, but you're watching now, and that is a series or a discussion about our D&D series that we are calling the Afterbrew. Now, what the Afterbrew is a little discussion about the first 12 episodes of our D&D series, The Homebrewers. The Homebrewers was a series we started back in September of 2018 with our Dungeon Master Brad, Suya, Mira, and myself. Episode 2, our friend Chrissy, who is also a part of Artist Reset, was brought into the D&D stuff. And since episode 2, the four of us have been playing Dungeons and Dragons together on a nearly monthly basis. And we've had 12 sessions together in that almost year and a half that we've been doing it. It might be a little over a year and a half at this point, but regardless, we've had 12 sessions together, and there have been some things that we've been able to, like some general arcs we've been able to go over, and kind of starting of new arcs and stuff like that. So we figured, why not sit down and talk about things that maybe have come up in Twitch chat or questions that we had for each other, and etc. So we did this little talk show. I say talk show. It's one part's Talks Machina, one part the Adventure Zone, and then one part just chatting on Twitch. We answered a couple people's questions in the Twitch chat that night, which we, spoiler alert, did this after episode 12, so we are discussing all 12 episodes, and it was really fun to just kind of hang out with Twitch chat for a little bit and kind of get to know each other's characters and arcs and things that Brad had in store for earlier episodes and sessions and stuff like that, and just kind of learn how the series has worked. And it's been really cool. I've always been a sucker for behind the scenes stuff, so kind of getting into the nitty gritty and some of the behind the scenes stuff was a lot of fun. So we're looking to do this after every arc. I know D&D arcs can get a little weird, but every time we feel like there's been enough episodes and there's been enough of an arc to discuss a series of episodes and allow for people to kind of throw things out there in Twitch chat, etc., we're going to be putting all of that out. Also, another note before we get into this video, if you tune into the HR Office podcast on Sunday, which is tomorrow if you're watching this, or it's on youtube.com/artistreset if you're watching it after it got streamed, we're doing a very special episode given the whole coronavirus situation, all of the events that have been canceled, and the most recent victim being Emerald City Comic Con. There have been a bunch of threads that have been going out about all the artists that were supposed to be at Emerald City Comic Con that are definitely losing out on being able to sell and show off all of their art. We're going to be showcasing as much as we can from that to kind of show our love, as small of a fucking channel as we are. Just show some love to people. And kind of do that, as well as kind of talk about some other things. We got Castlevania Season 3 we're going to talk about, Final Fantasy VII demo, and all that other stuff. And it's going to be really cool, so check that out if you're watching this before Sunday, which is going to be, I'm looking right now, it's going to be Sunday, March 8th. It's going to be around like 4 or 5 p.m. is when we're going to be doing it. We're trying to do the podcast earlier, so that way we still have the evening to ourselves. But go check that out if you are watching this after that has been live streamed. It's going to be on YouTube. It's going to be showing up, I think, in that corner over there, the little fucking title card where you'll be able to go check that out and all that fun stuff. But without further ado, let's jump into this new thing we're doing called the Afterbrew. Hope you guys enjoyed this kind of behind-the-scenes discussion of our first 12 episodes of the Homebrewers. Hey everybody, welcome to something that I'm trying out because fuck it, and if it doesn't work, then that's fine. It happens like that. Welcome to what I'm calling the Afterbrew, where we kind of just unplugged for about, some of the most recent episodes, kind of answer some questions, whether they're general questions here or questions that have come up in prior sessions, and just kind of get a little behind the scenes stuff.
Also, currently it's
Currently,
it's 1:15 in the morning.
Currently, it's like 1:15 in the morning. Mira and I are here. We got our DM, Brad, here. And Christine Sue will be joining us momentarily. But before then, we have a person who's new to D&D who is in the chat. And they got a couple questions. One of them is, and we'll wait for the first one until Christine and Sue get back. But they were asking about what are the most common roles that are played, as well as the most common tropes that are amongst those characters. And that's going to get into a question that I have about running this later. There's the edgy rogue. There's the horny bard. There's the goody two-shoes cleric. No, I'm just saying, these are the tropes.
I'm saying you look at me. But there.
Brad, you've been playing for a long time. What are some, like, the general dumb fighter?
Oh, you can ask him a question.
No, it's all good.
Go ahead, ask him a question.
No, I'm just saying there's the general, like, dummy fighter, dummy barbarian. You know, what are some other general tropes that you've seen in your years of playing D&D? You're like, that's a good question.
Quirky but lovable sorcerer.
Oh, okay, yeah.
He always has to have that over-the-top backstory.
Oh, yeah. Because sorcerers are the ones that are born with the magic.
Mm-hmm.
And wizards are the one that learn the magic.
Yep.
Yeah.
So it's always fun to see what people come up with. And they're just like, oh yeah, you studied for years to cast Fireball. I cast Fireball on my ass because, you know,
because I farted one day and I destroyed a fucking outhouse. Yeah, basically.
Is this Adventure Zone?
Roll for that.
Taco, am I talking to you?
Yeah, right. Like I said, just going through some general stuff. They were asking. I wouldn't say no. They were just asking what our characters are, race and class. So I'll start. I am rolling a half-elf rogue who's about to multi-class to bard. And there are some things that I do have for that. Go ahead, Mira.
I'm a halfling cleric.
Halfling cleric. Suya's back. He's the Shadow Man back in the chair.
Shadow Man here.
Shadow Man here.
I'm a human fighter.
Okay.
He is a human fighter.
Human fighter.
In case you couldn't.
And then Chrissy, yours is the interesting one.
Yours is the homebrew class.
You're a homebrew class. What is your class and what is
your
your race? Yeah.
My race, I'm human, believe it or not. But
Yeah.
I died when I was really little. I was part of a noble family, and they were trying everything to bring me back. Somebody gave them some sludge to give me, and it made me see the god Bahamut, and I was able to live, but I got the side effects of becoming part cat, basically.
You're a homebrew miq'ote.
I became a cleric because I was rescued by Bahamut, and so I became devout to him.
Nice.
Someone in the chat says they're a half-elf necromancer.
Oh,
Damn.
there's some interesting shit
Yeah,
that can happen with that. Yeah.
It's always nice like that because you always get more interesting.
Yeah.
I love the idea of a necromancer from 3.5, 3rd edition. I just feel like there's significantly more phantasmic spells that are available
The
to
thing-
somebody who's...
I would say the thing that we've learned about 3.5 is there is a lot more shit based on alignment in 3.5. And like 4th edition was like classes had like special things, and like 3 and 3.5 had your alignment kind of dictated the cool shit you could do. It seemed like, and there's like one of, but like I think
there's also the things that you couldn't do too. I mean,
true, yeah.
I mean, you could be up against a lich and he cast protection from good, and you're just like, oh.
Yeah, well, yeah, there's not much you can... that's really interesting. So, basically, this was a homebrew, and this is tying into, like, our campaign proper. One of the first questions I have is, and part 2 is going to be over to Chrissy, but how did you come up with the homebrew of what ended up becoming Chrissy? Which is basically, like, the basis of, like, a miq'ote from 14. Like, how did you come up with that homebrew?
Basically, she said, I want to be a cat. And so I was like...
I told him I wouldn't join this if I couldn't become a cat.
Yeah.
Okay.
So I was like, okay, I'll make you a cat. And we kind of rolled around the idea. I was like, well, you could be
Nope.
Tabaxi, and she's like, no, fuck that. And I was like, well, you can do this
Tabaxis are
other
fun,
thing. And
but
she's like,
Yeah,
no,
yeah.
I don't want to be that.
He really wanted me to play, and I refused unless I got to be what I wanted to be, basically.
Makes sense. Yeah, I get you.
So
Tabaxis are fun.
what I
but
did
no.
is, while constructing the backstory for her character, I designed a cause and effect of why she is the way she is. So it's not so
yeah.
much of like, my weird wizard dad liked his cat way too much, and boom.
Oh God.
And instead it's, desperate people doing desperate things to save somebody, and somebody says, here, drink this weird shit. And so they did, and for reasons still unbeknownst to her, she has abilities of a cat,
Yeah.
cat ears, and a tail.
That is true. Definitely.
Yeah.
Yeah. It was interesting, like when you first brought her in, and you said that she was like a cat girl. I was just like, oh, that's interesting. Like that was one of the first, for me at least, that was one of the first times where I felt like, actually, I'll just put it on like all of us.
Yeah.
That was one of the first times that I went, because we call it the Homebrewers because it's a homebrew of 3.5 and 5th edition. We're newer, so we defaulted to the most recent edition, which is 5th edition. But your biggest background was in 3 and 3.5. In fact, when we were prepping for Extra Life 2017, you had made the comment on a Facebook post of like, give me 3 hours every time in 3.5 D&D and I'm going to blow your fucking mind. And I was like, I'm fucking down. And that's kind of what became what I would call session 0, where we did, it was us three, I mean, Chewy's over there, but it was us three, and then you had DM'd, and we did that late.
And May and Chrissy were doing sound effects.
Yeah. I remember that, yeah. May and Chrissy were doing sound
The very
effects,
first
too, which is
session we
interesting.
had, they
I
were
was
doing sound effects.
voices.
Your voices, and they helped do sound effects
I
and
was a
shit,
bar.
yeah.
I was a bar whore.
Yeah, I remember that. But it was one of those things where as soon as you, like we said, like, okay, the Homebrewers, it's a homebrew of 3.5 and 5th edition and stuff like that. And but the thing for me, like the first time I ever felt like, oh, this is really homebrew, is when Chrissy showed up in episode 2. It's like, oh, she's a cat girl. I'm all, oh, this is new. Okay, this is cool. I like this a lot. Which leads to my question for you, Chrissy. Aside, I mean, you kind of hinted at it, because for the longest time you had told us, my RPGs are digital, I'm never doing tabletop. What convinced you to change your mind about that?
Oh no, she's looking at Brad.
She's laughing at Brad, because I remember you were originally adamant, like, I'm not doing this.
I mean, I did.
It's not your bag, yeah.
I refused to do it, and he bribed me until I did it.
He bribed you until
Yeah.
he did it.
I'll let you be a cat girl.
I'm like, I
Oh
told
my
him
God.
these certain specific things have to be my way, because if they're not, I don't care to play with you.
I get it.
Because he felt like he needed more people inside of this particular game. So
Right,
he's
yeah.
like, how can I make you join this game? And I'm like, I don't want to. Because at first I was co-DM with him.
You were, yeah.
I was, because he wasn't used to taking it easy on people that were learning and stuff.
Yeah.
He's used to being brutal. So I was basically like, no, you can't do that. You can't. You have to do this.
You were the one that kept
You
him
have
in
to scale
check,
it
at
down.
least
Yeah.
for scaling purposes, yeah.
And it like, so he's like, but I need more in the game, and I'm like, oh, well, I'll help you out if I can have my way with this stuff.
Right, yeah.
And so, you know, he gave in. He let me have my way with the stuff I wanted, and then so here I am.
I will definitely say for the campaign that I'm working on, that's going to be after this one, is that there were some parameters that I'm working on, and you had thrown out an idea that I'm really excited for, which is funny because someone mentioned that they have a pyromancer character too, and I am really excited to fuck with that idea. And I don't want to spoil for what the world's going to be, but like the arcane schools only focus on fire magic, and having somebody that's a pyromancer, that's going to be some hell, and I'm excited to fuck with that. It's going to be really cool. But I'd always wondered that. I had never known the full story, because I remember you were so adamant. You're like, my RPGs are digital. I'm never fucking going to play it tabletop. It's not my thing. I'm not interested in it.
To be honest, it's still not really my thing, but you know, for the sake of fun, I made it a thing that I could get into. So.
Yeah. So, kind of going around, just like so, answering general questions and kind of going over here real quick. So, one of the guys rolling through is they also play human pyromancer, who basically psychically hears the old ones in his brain, and it sort of kind of secretly whispers hints to your character in trade for my sanity. So there's like sanity checks and stuff like that. And continued on saying he was a very strange looking character. Most of his body was like wrapped in bandages due to him being physically burnt on his arms, legs, most of his face, torso, etc. But it was like, you know, kind of going into what the character was. Someone was asking, and Brad, you can answer it, and I think we can all answer it too.
Keep going real quick.
What was that?
Keep going.
Oh yeah, even couldn't talk much except when I was slightly pulled the bandages open, allowing him to sound coherent. That's an interesting idea, actually, kind of like fucking with the sanity shit there. But we were mentioning our races, and someone was asking, it's probably a DM question, what effects do the races have? I mean, you don't have to break them down, but just in a very broad general sense.
Okay, hang on.
Choosing your race.
There's a clarification for it, because it says, how do half races work? Like, what's the difference between an elf and a human?
It's usually half stats.
Yeah.
So, like, for instance, a full-blooded elf will have a +2 on hearing and sight checks. A half elf will have +1.
Yeah.
I think they kind of just mashed that all together for 5th edition and said you have advantage on both, regardless if you're half or full. That's cool.
Yeah.
But I think it made a little bit more sense.
It also depends on which parent you go with, right?
Yeah.
Because if you're going with your human side, you kind of take after that more.
Yeah, which is the thing that when I was making Renfis, like, he was raised by his human mother, so, like, there's more kind of the human side to it, which is why he generally is more because the general trope is that elves are kind of, like, pompous and, like, you know, snooty. But
like Legolas's dad.
Like Legolas's dad, absolutely. That's a good kind
stereotypical
idea. But because he was raised by his human mother, you know, humans, in a general sense, are more in touch with their emotional side, which is why Renfis kind of wears his emotions on his sleeve. So that kind of plays into that. But also, like, the stats in general, like what you said, they are split. There are some things as well, like...
Now, I'll say this, though.
Mm-hmm.
For a lot of advanced players and longtime players, and they want to get real fucking weird with their races, then you just totally homebrew. There's no rule to do it. So if your mom's a Minotaur and your dad's a fire genasi, go and have fun.
Yeah.
Make your shit.
The thing you want. for the guy, I say guy, but the individual in here who they're new to D&D is that there's rules, there's guidelines, but the first rule of D&D is find what makes it fun. And find, you know, like what Brad did for Chrissy.
Yes, I talk to animals. So
you talk to animals and you're a cat girl, so it's like pretty good.
Inspired by
there's also the question of, have we ever wanted to
animals.
bring back characters from past campaigns?
This is
the
actually
players,
our first
for the players, this is our
campaign.
first campaign. Brad, you were telling me for the campaign I'm working on, you're bringing back an old character, right?
I love the first one.
You were thinking about it?
But still, like,
Haven't
there's that
decided
idea.
yet.
There's still that idea. It's like, but like that's the closest thing we've ever gotten to that.
Now, since then, like, I mean, I'm in another campaign, but as far as campaigns go, this is my first.
Yeah.
So there are no past characters for me.
So this is a general question for the players. What point or points, and we'll go from Chrissy, Suya, Mira, and myself, did you finally feel that you kind of just really gotten in the mindset of your character? Like it finally clicked, even if it was like...
Ew, you spit on
I
me,
know,
dude.
I saw that. That was gross.
Oh god, I don't know.
Yeah, it's one of those things where, like just... Even if it's like when you first started, you just knew that was going to be your character. Like, when was the moment you're like, okay, I've got how I'm playing this character down like that? And we'll start with you, Chrissy.
Well, because I got my way in the character building a little bit too,
That kind of helped, yeah.
then it was instantaneous for me.
Makes sense,
I mean, she already has my name, and
Makes it
I
easier.
have that kind of
Yeah.
attitude anyway, so...
What about you, Suya?
I just wanted to have like a... Since this is my first campaign, I wanted to just go with the basics.
Mm-hmm.
Starting off, and since I like to be, you know, kind of a tank kind of
Yeah.
character, I'm like, I'll pick a fighter. I want to pick a dual wielding. I know it's cliche, whatever, but it's my first one. I want to go all out.
The thing is that, like, you've played it so interestingly well. Oh wait, you're all
well, you're
yeah,
on
it's
there.
like,
Yeah.
yeah, no, but yeah, I think what works best for you is that, like, it doesn't matter if it's cliche because you've made the character your own, and I love every interaction that Renfis has had with Suya. You know, it wasn't said in this session specifically. Fucking
Hooked on Phonics worked for Greg.
It wasn't said in this session specifically, but out of everyone in the group, like Suya, Renfis has felt is the most genuine. And I think that just plays to you always want to help someone. You don't have any. I mean, you have your past bullshit, but it's one of those things. Oh wow!
New person's going
to bed. It's 6:30 in the morning for them. That's late. Good night. Thank you guys. Go get some rest.
Super.
But
online is your friend.
Yeah, right.
Thanks for popping in.
Yeah, thank you very much. No, it's one of those things where he feels that don't try to fuck the dragon. The DM will smack you. Well, you tried that. Yeah.
She rolled a seduce it and it failed.
But no, like going back to people can sit there and say it's cliche or whatever, but like you made the character your own. I feel like a fighter being a noble, that enough is like that flips the trope on its head because the fighter's usually like he was raised by someone that's just like whether it's isolation or raised by a tribe or something like that. Like coming from
being in the military.
Just being in the military, it's like he was like I came from a noble family. I'm good at fighting. I'll fucking do that.
And it wasn't that he even accepted his nobility. He was really bored with it.
Yeah.
And I feel like not only that, it's not. I feel like outside of the typical kind of fighter thing, it's not totally brooding and it's not totally zany. Like he has a good balance between like there'll be times when he fucks around and then there's times where he's serious.
He's had shit happen to him, but it doesn't affect him on the sense of I have to be brooding now. Like he still has that kind of hope. I would say. Yeah.
Well, I try to play. Since this is my first character, and I'm not really into RP and whatever.
Yeah.
I try to just be myself with it. Basically.
Yeah.
That's it.
What about you, Amaryllis? Mira.
Might as well at this point.
Mira, with Amaryllis, when was the point that you really went, okay, like this is the like I'm in it. Like this is who she is. This is how I'm playing it.
Just the first time I got to heal.
Oh.
Because I knew I wanted to be a cleric, my first character.
Yeah.
So.
I would say, like, it sounds like all of you guys were really kind of, like, certain, like, from the word go. I feel like it took me a few sessions to really kind of get the feel of where I wanted Renfis to be. Because the general trope is the brooding rogue. And trying, in the first couple sessions, kind of playing it like that, like, it didn't feel natural. And I didn't like it. And I kind of, the first decision that I made as someone who played the character was, let me throw a little of my personal mental illness in there with anxiety. And then it kind of went into, maybe part of why he got fucked over from the Crimson Wind is because he wears his emotion on his sleeves. And, being a rogue, you kind of have to you do your job and that's what it is. But because he kind of had that emotion, that's kind of how he could have been fucked over a little bit, And then I think it was like the session when we were getting to the door where he had the conversation with Parm and kind of was just like, I allowed him to kind of just show, like, I felt like that session specifically was just, I felt like it could be very much, he had a lot more sides to him. And that opened up a lot of the ideas that I've got coming up for him in the future. And it kind of just, it was a trial and error because some things didn't feel natural. And once I finally felt that it felt more natural to get into the character, I will also say what also helped, and you guys, I was playing some of it for you guys last night, was I started making a music playlist for him because music is a way that I can connect to anything. I would listen to music and be like, this makes me think of this or think of that. And I created like this playlist for Renfis that kind of made me go, okay, if he was in this current time, with the technology that we have, what would be songs that we feel he would personally connect with, and that helped me kind of go, okay, I'm finally getting it now, and it's one of those. I'm feeling it now, Mr. Guys, but it's one of those things where, I think the other thing that helped too was bringing in the idea of when he was younger, he was very in tune with the bards in music, and that if the shit hadn't happened with his mom, he would have gone to bard college, he would have been a bard. And kind of bringing that dynamic of there was this other path that now he's realizing that even though he's got his own shit to deal with, that he can kind of forget about some of the shit he was doing. That, I think, was when it finally clicked. I'm like, okay, it kind of ties into something with me personally because I gave up my dream of music because of a falling out with some friends of mine. And they were the ones that were the biggest music inspiration. So it's helped me tap into that old dream, you know? And it just feels natural. And it's really cool.
So now you can shitpost the dragon.
Now I can shitpost the dragon. Hell yeah. I'm going to check the chat right now. It says, I remember one time I was in campaign and my character got swallowed by a whale. However, I did a luck roll and I won and I got a 20 and my character found his stepfather in the belly of a whale because apparently his stepfather was one of the crew members on the ship my character was on.
And then he replied with...
To explain the story, my character goes on a long monologue about how his stepfather abandoned him and how he basically pinned his gambling debt on him and his mother and robbing my character of his mom's small estates. And then murders his stepfather, though through smashing the man's skull open. Wow, that's a journey from beginning to end.
Right.
Question for our DM.
Wow.
You and I have had some conversations like away from the game, where like you would say like when you were younger, when you would DM something, you would just kind of do things like on the skin of your teeth, and that like you've really kind of built this really cool world, with great characters and whatnot. And I asked you this already. One of what is your favorite NPC that you've created for the campaign? That blacksmith is great though. He's pretty great.
The bugbear.
Honestly, my favorite's the bugbear. I like that bugbear a lot. Anyway, go ahead.
I think your best character is Parm, to be honest, because the way you voice her and the amount of work you put into her.
You really get into that character.
I like Parm.
Parm.
There's
Yeah.
PTSD.
She's not afraid to dick around with people, and
Yeah.
she feels like being stupid. She's just
I feel like if there's anything that defines Parm,
Not afraid to dick around with people. I know. Trust me.
It was the session. I feel like if anything defines Parm, it's the session when we got back from the door and the Knolls, where she literally says, "I just want to get my money and I want to get laid," and it's like she wasn't afraid to be like, "I want some dick or some puss, whatever she wants. I want some fucking good sex. I want some money." It's like, you know what? As a player, like that's kind of shitty, but hey, she's upfront about it. Like that's pretty great.
Get laid.
Get paid, get laid. There you go.
There you go.
It's the simple things.
Yeah, the simple
New
things.
life motto.
Yeah. Question for
the
Chrissy and
small
Stuya
things.
because this came up a few sessions ago. There was kind of someone had mentioned the thing of like, not that there's a divide, but it's interesting that you guys are playing the noble characters and we're, to play into like a personal inside joke, her and I are the characters that come from humble beginnings. But you guys definitely have
More for you though.
I mean, yeah. Absolutely. You guys definitely have the noble side and like your guys' interactions and like finding out about the ties with the uncle and stuff like that. Like that was really interesting. Did you guys plan that you both were going to be that tied to one another? Or did that just kind of happen through the RP and the stuff that you guys were working on?
Yeah, the second option. It was never like, we never really talk about it outside.
Right.
So there's never any plans between characters. We never communicate about our characters at all. So everything, every connection, every
You leave it in the game.
interaction
It's
we have
pure
is
candid.
purely in game.
Pure in game, on the spot.
So it's Brad's fault.
You
All
can
that.
say that.
Yeah.
He's like, yeah.
The rec set it that way, and we either we hit it or miss it.
Yeah.
I don't know what you're talking about, Brad.
This is and we'll get to the question here in a moment, but the general question for you guys and then the question for us, because we've talked about this. You guys don't talk about it. Do you guys feel at any point in time there could be any romantic in game with you guys or no?
We don't plan anything right now.
Just let it happen, yeah.
It's
What
still
happens,
like a
happens.
friendship kind of thing at this point.
Yeah.
If it goes that way, it goes that way. If it doesn't, it
Yeah.
doesn't. It's pretty much the way that we play it is kind of like real life interaction.
Right, yeah.
If you're doing fucked up things, obviously you're gonna have negative affinity.
Yeah.
If you do more nice things, it's gonna go maybe.
Yeah, yeah. It's like the Paragon and Renegades
Yeah.
It's karma.
shit. Yeah, the karma
I mean,
set. Yeah.
Right now, it's more like I'm just trying to get to the bottom because I cared about his uncle, and
Yeah.
obviously he cares about.
He
his
was
uncle,
someone that
so-
was important in your life
Yeah.
in a backstory where you had not neglectful,
Not a
but
support system,
you
basically.
didn't have a support system. Yeah,
Yeah.
she didn't have one at all. Now her and I have talked about it. There's never going to be a romantic interaction between us two. just because
he's like my bro.
Yeah, basically. No, so the thing with Amaryllis, and we kind of touched on it in this most recent session, but
Renfus doesn't like half-elves.
Renfus is not into anybody shorter than him.
No, I mean yes. That's not, but that's not a Renfus thing. That's a Greg thing.
But it's still.
I mean, but the thing is that the thing with Amaryllis is like, even though she's kind of hiding some shit, which let's be real, she's definitely hiding some shit. Now
I'm just questioning my sanity.
Yeah, you're questioning everything. No, she is kind of quickly becoming like the moral compass he hasn't had since his mom was around. And his mom was definitely kind of being just this fucking, this punk kid. He had a lot of blessings in his life. When his mom died, he kind of pissed everything away because he had a whole village that was willing and ready to take care of him. But he got hell-bent on finding out about his father and a bunch of hearsay stuff that we're definitely going to be playing into whenever we get to like his arc of that story, if we, depending on if he survives that long. But he definitely, when his mom died, he didn't have the moral compass, and seeing the kind of the genuine goodness despite what they're going through, he's gravitating to her and the I need a moral compass again. And he's quickly learning that that's going to be like a bond that's, family is more than blood kind of situation. And we initially talked about it, and she was just like, yeah, no, I totally 100% get that. She's like, I'm totally down for that. So there's going to be some interesting, as time goes on and more stories revealed and stuff like that, there's definitely some more opening up in interactions. Brad, question in the chat. Someone is saying, what is the most powerful weapon you've ever made in a campaign? And that includes the homebrewing weapon of one of the characters you robbed off of them. Okay. But, like, what is the most, whether it's this campaign or any campaign that you've DM'd for, what would you feel is the most powerful weapon you've ever created?
It can either be from the book or something homebrewed.
Yeah. It doesn't matter.
My strongest weapon I created just basically for shits and grins.
Oh, I'm excited already.
Because my character was already epic level, and I was just dicking around with... it's like, what kind of shit can I throw on a longsword? It was a longsword that was magically blessed with +5, which was like the max you could put on a sword. Okay, yeah. Like, it dealt... I think it was like 2d6 like fire damage.
Oh my god! Okay.
I think it had spell slots. It was just it was like one of the last things that I was just like, I'm gonna make a sword and throw shit on it with like whatever I could that slightly made sense. So I never actually had a chance to use it because that was about the time that I stopped using that character. But that was it.
So that person replied saying that their most powerful weapon was where his orc barbarian basically used some magic he stole from a necromancer, and by using old magic and stored a chunk of the sun into a warhammer when he strikes. Again, against a person that basically made people explode in a fire.
And Viscera.
And Viscera, yeah. Question, this is one specifically for Suya. Because you've mentioned in the past that you're not much for the RP side of things, but I've definitely seen in recent sessions that you've kind of really started to open up to some of the RP stuff. You're still definitely, I would say...
more action-driven.
You're definitely more action-driven when it comes, which, I mean, that's the way people play, and there's nothing wrong with that. What has helped you kind of start to open up in the RP sense?
The story connecting... making sense more for my arc, basically.
Right. Yeah.
So, like, if I see connections, I'm like, okay, now I'm interested. Now my character can talk and speak up and say about things. Because normally, right now, as of my character, he's just kind of tagging along, but at the same time still observing, like... And since she's I found a connection, I'm like, I'm going to stick with her and see what I can find. And then... And then since we met, I'm like, well, I want to help you guys out too. And stuff.
I would say with the revelation of this session of you opening up, like, do you know this person? Like, I will say as a character, when this whole thing that we're doing is done, like, Renfus is definitely going to be pushing to find that out, because he knows that if we're going in the opposite direction, that even if he's going to be putting himself out there, and a part of it's kind of like
a part of like a lasting kind of atonement for what he did in the last session of like, even if I got to put my neck on the fucking and the fucking noose in order to help someone figure something out and have some closure. Like he's definitely like there'll be some conversations coming up, especially after we're done with this, that there's going to be a lot of talk of trying to get as much information just to kind of definitely be I'm asking this because I care and I want to prove that I care and I want to help you find that closure. Because if there's anything Renfis doesn't have in his life at all is closure, but most of that is his own fucking fault. To tie into another question, this is something that came up a lot in the last session.
Mm-hmm. Before you get to that,
go ahead.
My favorite RP for you guys though is when you guys start trouble at the bar.
It's always
you guys
every
look
bar.
Like you're actually having fun. So
I think the more that I'm kind of starting to tap into the fact that I'm going to be multi-classing the bard. I love the idea of eventually, once the bard level starts stacking more, that he's just the hype man for Suya. To be like, guys, come try to kick his ass. You won't fucking last, and it's gonna be chaotic. Like,
right.
He's gonna, and I'll spill this right now. That he's eventually gonna have.
You're gonna make them toss a coin.
Yeah, he's gonna make the fight. It's basically gonna be
toss
fucking
a coin to your fighter.
Toss a coin to your fighter. It's basically. In a very loose sense, it's going to be basically Geralt and Dandelion in the sense of like...
Oh god,
Dandelion,
no.
No, just in the sense of Dandelion is going to... Like, Dandelion embellishes a lot of shit that he does, but like, in that sense, kind of just like... He's going to be like, he's done all this shit, he's killed a fucking dragon, try to kick his ass. Like, now that that's on our fucking resume, it's like, oh shit. Yeah.
And meanwhile, Suya is going to be exactly like Geralt and just do the deep sighs.
And then
it's like, that's not right.
I'll be there in the background and be like, guys, there was a baby dragon.
Baby dragon! Yeah,
That's what it do.
It does what it do.
It was a baby dragon.
At you while you're
it was,
fighting.
yeah, there you go.
It was a baby dragon and he had help.
Looking at the chat right now, our RP a bit mixed, but as long as it doesn't get too weird, I don't mind it. Hell, the character I play in RP and what they say, such as like if I'm playing a highborn character, I would have a fancy way of talking or some shit, or if I'm playing some like muscle for hire, I would just do more Cockney way of thinking. Which, hey, that's pretty cool.
Talking, you mean?
Yeah, talking.
Not thinking.
I read
thinking Cockney.
Thinking Cockney.
Talking common.
The one thing that came up in the last session, and I'm actually kind of really, as a player, satisfied with how the RP of this session happened. But the last session, there was a lot of questions. Why did Renfis stab Amaryllis? We had questions about it. I've dwelled on that for a little over a month and a half. And looking at the timeline and looking at where he came from, looking at even after he busted out of jail, he was still acting on that Crimson mentality. And I mentioned in this session, which was Code 1, or Rule 1, I forgot how I... Code 1, which was basically, if the mission is compromised, take out the compromiser. And that's why he froze and I gave Brad control, and then she pulled the clutch move of Calm Emotion, was... He was like, okay, this has gone on for too long. He had already been strangled by her. There's this whole book thing that he doesn't trust about her, etc. He's only...
Nobody trusts the book.
Nobody trusts that fucking book. Yeah,
don't read. Books.
Don't read. Yeah, I get you. No, he's only...
As a former library assistant, I cannot agree with this.
He also, the thing, too, is he definitely... It's not been too long that they've met. They've only probably known each other for maybe a month the most, depending on
this point.
It's just been like a few weeks, 1 or 2 months. But he's up until that point. There's just been this idea, this dichotomy, which we haven't really got into, and I'll kind of save some of it for when the RP presents it. Just the dichotomy of. Being with these people is the first time he hasn't thought about the shit that's after him. And in a sense, it's calming, and in a sense, it's terrifying. But it hasn't been too long. And he already had been, strangled by Amaryllis. He's already kind of gotten close. There's a genuine reason. There's also also if I get close, she'll open up, which she hasn't, which is making him go, okay, what the fuck's going on with you?
Why don't you love me?
Right, yeah. But it's one of those things where Chrissy told them to go. He, out of all of you guys, like Amaryllis is the one he's the closest to at this point. Followed her, trusting her judgment, being led into an alleyway, and I definitely played upon when you said, because that's why I asked the question, do I see this individual when I turn the corner? And you said, no, she's just standing there alone. And as Renfis, I'm like, she led me into an alleyway. There's a dragon fucking in this city, and she's leading me into a fucking closed off alleyway. This is a compromise. And then after the first stab, he goes, wait, this is going against everything you fought to try to break for the last couple months, and that's why he kind of went comatose for a little while. Because he couldn't mentally process that. And the more I've thought about it, I don't regret it. Because I think he's going to, in future sessions, be confronting this idea of, listen, if you're trying to get better, you gotta actually get better, my dude. And it's gonna be
Stop. Yeah. Get some help.
Stop it. Get some. That's literally what it is, though. Stop it. Get some help. Question for Chrissy. This is a simple question because this last session was the first time you dropped your family's name. Is that a character choice, or is that just a, well, you know who I am choice?
You know who I am.
Okay. Yeah, I've always been curious because
the thing with my family name is there are nobles, but there are nobles that are above other nobles. Like if there was in the hierarchy, if there were like king and queen of this land, my family would be at that tier.
At that, okay.
So we are above almost all.
So they're almost god tier nobles, basically. Okay.
There are other families just as powerful as ours, but it's really like with all of the other noble houses that we've been to, they're not. None of them have been in my name. So when you drop a name like my family name, it's because we're important.
Yeah,
makes sense. So it helps us get a little bit more out of
I get you. Oh yeah. Yeah, right. Fucking mic drop over here.
Like Suya's little house isn't as important as mine.
I love that.
Or was it?
I remember like when because I had stepped away because we technically weren't in the room, but when you had made that reveal that, oh yeah, I knew your uncle, it was just like, I think everyone at the table went, oh shit, okay, that's.
I mean, it was revealed already. That's exactly why I was even there to save your ass.
Because you were with him.
I was following him.
Yeah. That's really cool the way that time. Did you guys have that part planned at least? No. Or that was, again, in the RP?
He didn't know anything about that. This was already part of my story. But I withheld it until the right time because
that was cool,
his uncle gave me stuff to give to him.
That was a really cool reveal, and I like that a lot.
So it was a surprise to everybody.
So I'm gonna ask the question for Brad first, and then we'll get to us, and then or actually, let me ask the Amaryllis question first. So
why?
No, she's like, why?
It's like the cat activation noise.
What? No, so Amaryllis has had this back and forth. She's had nightmares. She's dealing with the book. She's trying to find her master, etc., etc. And I know that behind the scenes, originally, your backstory was just a simple, I'm someone that's trying to help everyone. And we had the reveal on episode 1 of what was being twisted, and then we've been able to kind of form fit that to, well, this may have happened. This may not have happened. That wasn't a retcon. It was just no, this is a twist on it. Maybe it did. Maybe it didn't. Since you've really nailed that down, have you felt that that's helped you change how you play Amaryllis in any way, shape, or form? And if so, with what you're comfortable revealing, what do you feel like? How has that changed that?
I really don't know.
You really don't know? Okay, no, that's fine.
I'm just kind of going with it at this point.
Makes sense. This is a question I know I'm not going to answer to. What was on that card in the last session?
Maybe you'll find out.
Maybe we'll find out. No. It's funny because even though, for people who don't know, we're in a relationship, you guys are in a relationship, I still don't tell her everything. I have certain things that I have said, I'm like, because I'll workshop some things with her, but I don't like. There's some stuff that I'm working on with the backstory of Renfis and kind of some of his reasonings behind stuff that like no one else really knows. That'll be revealed in roleplay and stuff like that. But it's like I just like we don't after the like unlike you guys, we do like unwind from the session like every session.
He's
like,
actually gay.
No, actually, I will confirm he is not. No.
Greg.
GG, Greg Gay.
So here's a question for the chat. Let's see. Has anyone ever had a problem RPing a certain thing, or the way somebody's RP'd, and
how did you deal with it?
How did you deal with it?
Yeah. I will say that like last session was probably one of the most uncomfortable things for me. Time back to what I'm saying again because I've never experienced having to fully play the character, and I as Greg felt like such an asshole doing that. But as Renfis is like, well, that's what he would have done. You know, it was ridiculous. But like at the same time, you know, and we unplugged from it in this session, and I as both Greg and I'm looking as Renfis, it was such a good unplugging from that situation. Like no words were minced. It was very clear where everyone stood on it, which is why even like his guilt was even why he was like, Amaryllis, don't lie about this. You know what happened. Tell her. And then when she said, you tell her, I'm like, okay, I fucking did this. You know, which at least for me, the way that I'm like workshopping Renfis a lot, I feel like that whole moment is so important to him because it's going to help him finally realize, yeah, I'm really fucked up. Yeah, I wasn't as good of a person as I thought I was. Which is going to be really interesting to unpack in the upcoming sessions and whatnot. And I'm excited with everyone to really unpack that. And kind of now the overwhelming guilt of, I have to make this up to everyone now. And I'm excited to see how that unplugs.
My favorite part of this session? The double ones.
That was incredible. The double ones.
Well, okay,
guys...
which one? The ones you both rolled, or the two ones that he rolled?
The ones we both rolled.
Yeah, that was
because there were
really
two
good.
sets of double ones.
When he rolled at advantage and got double ones, I'm like, oh no.
That's the ultimate betrayal.
So, question for Brad, and then we'll have one last question for everyone here. Brad, as a DM, you make these plans, you create so many different scenarios that things can be solved. You've put a lot in this campaign, and we talked about it on the last podcast that, you know, we really love this world that you've created and all the challenges and stuff that you've kind of put forth in every dungeon, every encounter, etc.
Except for the wall. Fuck that wall.
Well, the wall. That was
way back in the
That was way back during session 0. Has there been any situation where any of our actions were so either off the wall or something you weren't expecting that
blowing up the chalice
that you went, and I know one of the answers, that you went, I didn't fucking think of that.
Oh, God,
holy shit. Like whether it was a holy shit that was awesome or a holy shit what the fuck did you do? Yeah, or a fuck you. Yeah. Which situations has that happened?
I had a bunch of gnolls sneaking through the water to their boat.
Oh yes! I remember this.
Oh yeah, this.
This was
cat
awesome.
Who had insisted on not sleeping or getting off of her perch.
Which had helped.
Saw the gnolls coming towards her on a makeshift raft.
Yes!
Blew it up. And
that's early Homebrewers
90%
too. That was cool.
Fight, I'm sitting here rolling shit to get the goddamn gnolls to climb on the side of the boat.
But they couldn't.
But they just couldn't. They're just sitting in the water, getting picked at.
Yeah.
And then when they finally did get on the boat, they were immediately dispatched because half of their life was already gone.
The best part about that was such a clutch fight for Chrissy, but because Renfis didn't have the throwing daggers at the time, that was such a shit fight for him. He didn't do any damage that fight. But like I remember like watching you when she goes, "Oh, well, I light the boat on fire." And you literally went, "Oh, okay."
He thought I was gonna strike the gnolls, but I was like, I attacked the boat.
Roll for the boat, and she rolled high,
The
and
boat's
it's
made
like,
of wood. I'm gonna set it on
well,
fire.
fuck, okay.
Wood is flammable. I must set it on fire.
Mm-hmm.
Take out 3.
That was
your
pretty
poor
good.
chalice.
Yeah,
The chalice, yeah.
I had a blood drinking chalice for a particular
was looking for him to seduce that stupid asshole to kill him, and then
Didn't happen.
Yeah, and I never ran into him, and then when I finally ran into him,
That's funny.
I'm gonna take away what he wants.
The amount of blood everywhere after you broke that chalice was ridiculous.
I needed a bath.
I still say it's just like if we hadn't played Persona 5, we may not have thought to break the chalice, but we all
You
have.
had mentioned the chalice, and I was like, uh-oh.
I would have still done it.
Well, no, because my thing was just like, you know, there's been a couple of times where, like, in P5, where there would be, like, the chalice or, like, say, the trophy for the first palace. It's just like,
sharing
hey,
stories
he's healing from that. Take that thing out.
Yeah.
So I'm just sitting there like, why? Why are
said,
we attacking him when we could just be attacking the thing that's giving him life?
Yeah. I will never forget Brad's face when she said, I strike the chalice. And I'm like, oh shit, okay, we're doing this. That was after the only time I've been able to use Assassinate to knock out like almost 40 HP on that fucker, too. Yeah. Did you expect that
over the wall?
Did you expect that encounter was going to end with him fucking seppukuing himself with a fireball?
No, I expected you guys to go back to the inn, he'd murder somebody else, and eventually you'd get around to other things with that story in mind.
We ended up pretty quickly.
Yeah,
you need to slow down.
Okay. and if you can choose to not answer this, is that thread closed, or do you still have a little more for that when we get back to Rivers?
I have a lot of things planned.
Yes.
Okay. That is your, I decline the comment. And that's, no, honestly, that's just fine, because if there's story stuff, you're like, I don't want you to know yet, like, that's totally fine. So
this is the real reason why he had Chrissy join the party, is because we were all taking way too long to solve the puzzles.
Very true. So the last question I have, this is going to be for everyone.
But now we're going too fast.
This is going to be for everyone. We'll start with Chrissy again. Favorite moment or moments that you've had in these first 12 episodes?
I mean, fighting's always fun and it gets your adrenaline pumping.
Right.
But, I have to say, fucking Lucia is like my favorite thing.
It happened in this session.
I love being able to talk to animals, and I love. My very favorite one wasn't. I mean, this episode was funny, but my favorite one was when he was trying to train, and I threw the rock at him, and you just hear him yell.
Not this time.
Yeah.
The other time.
The other time you threw a rock at him.
I have more fun being like that because I get to take frustration.
You little mischievous shit where you get to fuck with people.
Because that's definitely me in real life. I'm super mischievous.
I can attest to that.
But on the more serious like things that I like about this, I would say it's interesting to see I think the book was the most interesting thing. That was on the most serious
fucking book is going to be the end of us.
Being gang killed.
It's put away.
Yeah.
Definitely not in my
That was
favor,
fun.
But it was unexpected. So.
No, it was one of those things where the timing couldn't have been more impeccable because that was the session before our Extra Life session. The Extra Life session was the Resurrection episode. Like, as much as I didn't want anyone to die, if that were to happen, that timing was fucking perfect, actually. But, yeah. So your favorite moments?
So, my favorite moment was killing the dragon. Being able to, like, actually survive a dragon attack.
Yeah.
It just showed, like, man, we could survive this. That's cool.
You were the MVP of that fight because there was the shit going on the side with Renthus and Amaryllis. You know, he was still under calm emotions. Chrissy was trying to distract the dragon, but Suya is just like, he took so many chunks out of his health, and then finally just, oh shit, it's fucking gone.
The dragon.
Yeah. Side question for you: did you think that we were going to fully fight the dragon, or did you think we were going to try to escape?
Given our track record,
fight the dragon, or everyone was going to die.
Makes sense.
Given our track record,
yeah.
I'm surprised none of you died.
Right.
There
was some shit, especially that poison breath, could have gone really wrong, really fucking quick.
Yeah. One of the things
well, we have Revivify now, so.
One of the things I didn't like though was we left the gnolls just under.
Yeah, I felt a little unsatisfied.
I was unsatisfied. I hate running away from fights.
Yeah,
because I want to at least deal with it. Because if you don't deal with it, it's gonna come bite you in the ass.
I would argue that's part of the reason why Renfis got so pissed at Parm. Was he figured, he's like, I know we had to run because we were outnumbered, but like as a player, I thought that we were going back. I thought we were going to report what had happened and we were going to be sent back to finish what we started, but with the numbers that we needed, so that way it wasn't a suicide mission. I thought we were going there just to report so we can go back. And then kind of like, oh no, we'll take it from here. And then Parm leading the thing, I'm all, okay. And then when Parm knocked on the door in the session when she came back, that's why I kind of went, what the fuck are you doing here? Yeah, it was just like, oh, having that happen made me go, we're not fucking done with these guys. We will not be done with these guys for a while. And now I'm having the regret of putting that in Parm's hands because you see how well it was handled, which is not at all. So I'm with you on that. That's not satisfying. We're gonna have to rectify that at some point.
Maybe if we can.
True.
Might be too late by then, though.
Could be. We could show up to City of Rivers after, just decimate. We're like, well, all right. What about you? What about you?
What was the question again?
Favorite moment.
Favorite or not favorite? Both.
Even not favorite, yeah. Favorite and not favorite moments.
Anytime I get to be useful, it's great. Really tired of my attacks just fizzling out.
Yeah, no, that's everyone.
It gets frustrating though, because I'm just sitting there like, I want to be able to help too, but every time my attacks fizzle out, I'm just like, why do I try? Anytime I'm useful,
it happens.
It
really does happen. That's a part of.
I mean, he got double one.
That guy, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, but
try again.
Like he hits like 99% of the time. I'm sitting here like, oh, I'm gonna do
70.
guiding bolt. I'm gonna do spiritual weapon.
I would say I hit 70%.
But what doesn't help too is that fighters, they attack a lot more, so they're rolling a lot more. So there's the more of the chance that there's more success.
I usually just get one try, and if it doesn't work that turn, that's it.
And it happens.
But when it hits,
and then I use spell slots for it.
I mean,
too,
look
so
at
then
you though.
Sometimes I can't get those back until after a rest.
You killed the last. You killed the last Manticore.
Thank fuck for bonus actions, because otherwise it would have just sat there.
No, I get you.
Again. But no, just anytime I can do something.
Has there been any like story moment or RP moment that you felt like has been good, or like what he said, even like unsatisfying?
Anytime Parm is in the picture, I get PTSD.
Yeah, not bad.
Yeah.
I mean, you try having her shove her tongue down your throat.
Personal conversations with me.
I don't know. I went to the restroom. I don't know what the fuck happened.
She has personal conversations with me going, I fucking hate Parm. She's the worst. I can't say that as Amaryllis because she's not like that. Yeah.
She's not.
This is heckin' horrible.
The arm wrestling with that strong.
I straight up said that if there's anyone that'll cause Amaryllis to actually curse, it's going to be Parm. Parm's gonna say or do something really dumb.
Parmesan.
Yeah, Parmesan. My favorite moment. One of my favorite moments is Carl. Another one of my favorite moments is a moment that we lost, and that was Touche. That was you guys. It was one of your guys' first conversations together.
You were like having a campfire discussion.
We were having a campfire talk and a discussion, and you had like said something to kind of call Suya's bluff, and so he responds with Touche instead of Touche. And we were recording at the couch at the time, and we fucking lost it, dude. It was
the computer crashed.
And the computer crashed because at the time, the way it originally was set up was we had it plugged in there and here, and we realized that the HDMI cable, if it can cause the computer to crash for whatever reason. And I hate that we lost.
I don't know if it's just this computer or just all of them in general.
I don't know, but those moments were pretty great. I loved. It was a simple interaction. There was a conversation a couple sessions ago where Renfis and Chrissy kind of had actually a pseudo kind of serious conversation, and he was kind of beating himself up over something, and despite kind of they're not agreeing with shit, she was the first one to say, you fucking matter, dude, like you need to chill. And like that was as someone playing a character, because like the amount of times you and I as people have had that conversation is fucking endless, and it's never gonna end until the day that we're old and then die. Like that's always gonna be the conversation. Stop beating yourself up, bro. It's fine. You know.
Stop beating yourself up. Let me do that for you.
Let her do that for me. Yeah.
That's my job.
But just kind of having that dynamic, it's really kind of for the way that I'm kind of shaping what's going to become the redemption arc for him. It's like these are the seeds that are going to redemption. Yeah, right. But these are the seeds that are being planted now. That's going to help him kind of give a shit. And I really like that moment. It was a good moment.
Shadow Man here.
And I say I'm with Suya on a moment that I didn't like was leaving that null thread open because, like I said earlier, I thought we were going to be going back. Something that we'll save that. But Brad, your favorite moments that you've had in these 12 episodes.
When I came in clutch and saved Gregory. No, I'm kidding.
When I managed to fool them all on the puzzle.
Oh, yeah. He's really just dwelling. Damn.
What do you put into Google? Puzzles for 10-year-olds.
When I guess...
And just hope for the best.
Fair enough, yeah.
And just hope for the best. Oh, they're never going to solve this one.
I would say that the...
Parmesan.
No.
The times when
Cries in Italian.
You see a struggle.
yeah,
Cries in Italian.
yeah, that's an easy way to say it. I like to see you guys struggle when I present a monster challenge or a puzzle, and you guys are like,
we're workshopping ideas. Yeah.
The times we
is that the thing? It's like it's satisfying. Like it's satisfying for you because you're satisfying.
Because it's not
satisfying.
too easy.
It's satisfying for you because you're just like, okay, I'm giving you an actual challenge.
yeah,
Yeah, and I get that.
I want you guys to feel like
You don't want us to breeze through the stuff you're doing.
Yeah.
I mean, nobody likes easy mode.
I like
I do.
easy mode.
Sometimes. It depends on what it
I'm
is.
boring.
Sometimes when I'm playing it for the first time, I just want
feel
the story.
like the challenges
Boring.
have been the right amount of challenge. Like there's been things that we've been able to circumvent that you're just like, oh, okay, fine. Like the chalice or the fucking destroying the raft for the gnolls.
Or
But
the
then for-
dragon in the first
Or the dragon.
on
dungeon.
that. I feel like some of the things you could be more challenging,
The
but
dragon
I
in the first
don't.
dungeon.
I don't like when you try and do the puzzle things because it's not something that everybody
Yeah, I'm
really
trying to
works
lean
with.
back
Yeah.
on puzzles.
Yeah.
But I do like the challenging fights. I appreciate those.
Like I would say, for
Meanwhile, I'm
example,
reverse. I'm just like, please give me more puzzles.
that dragon fight.
She knows like
I
7
was with
languages.
Brad.
Let
I
her
did
do
not-
something with them.
I thought it was going to be more deadly, especially, and I would say you were rolling shit getting that breath back. And as players, we're just like, oh, thank God. But when we got that breath back and I lost half my health in one breath, I'm all, and that was with Uncanny Dodge. I'm like, well,
Not good.
shit. Yeah. It was like, this is dangerous. Yeah. It was,
But
Yeah.
those moments are basically
Yeah.
why it makes this game exciting because you don't know what's going to happen and the unpredictability
Yeah.
makes it worth playing.
And I think us realizing that there's a lot more we can do that makes those things like, man, it's impossible to. No, there's a way that we can strategize and get this done.
That's
Yeah.
always the fun part. When
Yeah.
you're presented with something challenging and you're like, your adrenaline kind of kicks in a little bit.
Yeah.
Like, I need to figure out what I'm doing. Like, Suya, for instance, he lost one of his great swords and
Yeah.
was clinched in the jaws of a dragon, and it just drops him. And so, like,
Yeah.
exhausted from anything else, he's like, "Wait, I have action surge," and just grabs onto the face of the
Yeah,
stage
that
and
was
die.
clutch.
So I mean, that's what are always cool aspects, and that's what
Yeah.
I think that's what the game is all about, is having somebody do something that you want to be able
Yeah.
to do in a video game or see on TV. It's like, well, why the fuck didn't you just do this?
Yeah.
It's like,
Those
okay, my character's gonna try and do that.
Those clutch moves, and I'll let you say what you're saying in a moment. Those clutch, so those challenges have created some of the most clutch, like MLG fucking moments. Yeah, it's pretty good. Yeah, it's been really cool because I feel like they presented some like really badass situations. Like in this most recent fight, where I got the natural 20 on the daggers, and I was like, I dipped down, and it's like slash, you don't have a wing anymore. Like imagining that in my head, like that's fucking cool. And like him like getting fucked up over a dragon, and it's like, no, I'm gonna be the one that kills you. Like that's fucking boss, and I love that. Anyway, Chrissy, what you were gonna say?
I mean, for me, the best. Overall, the best part, even though I have grievances sometimes with you about the certain way you do certain things, I do really think that you've been doing a good job, just because there's such a diversity at this table of what people like in the story.
Yeah.
Like you like action, or you like knowledge, or you like RP, like heavy RP, or you like something kind of like in the middle, or maybe not even too connected.
Yeah.
You kind of try and divide it as evenly as you can while pushing the story forward, and I appreciate that.
I would say like you've done really good at adapting to like, because like I said, I love the RP side of things. Combat's fine. It gets my adrenaline going. I'm with you guys on that. But, like, I crave the story. I've always been a story guy when it comes to anything. It comes to any media, any video games. Gameplay can be subpar, but if the story is incredible, I will love it incredibly. Like, I will super love it. But, so, like, I favor that. But then there's people like you, who you love the combat. You love kind of getting creative in how you can solve those combat situations.
For him, it's not just about the combat. It's more like, oh shit, I can actually die from this.
Yeah.
It has to be the challenge. It's not just to fight. It has to be like, you have to have that risk.
The stakes that are set for each fight. Oh, yeah.
Because it makes it unpredictable. It makes you be on your toes.
Yeah.
That's what he likes about it.
That's one of the things that I'm
trying to build up.
Trying to build up, because in my original campaigns back years ago, my friends would sit there because they would be pawing through the monster manual with me, and they're like, "Bro, let's fight that." I'm like, "You guys fucking serious?" He's like, "Yeah, let's fucking do it." It's like, okay, and it'd be something significantly out of their range. And whittle it down a mountain. I mean, they would die, but they didn't give a fuck.
They would die.
Shit, now we know.
Yeah.
I mean, I love a good story. Don't get me wrong, but if there's like Greg, if there's like a good gameplay and good story, I like it.
You're good.
It's my cup of tea.
And I feel like that, like, I mean, everyone speaks for themselves, but I feel like that the way you've been able to adapt and kind of include, here's some fighting, here's some RP moments, here's this, here's that. Like, I feel like everyone leaves a session satisfied. Hey, we got to fight here. Even on the more RP heavy sessions, it's like you do your best to make sure that, okay, you guys have this conversation, you get a few minutes here. While that's going on, what are you guys doing? And like making sure that there's not too much of a lull.
I came up with a more unsatisfying moment.
Go for it.
That guy fucking leaving, the one that fucking killed me.
Yes, I'm with you on that. Oh, that is a thread that we're gonna have to fucking tie up.
Yeah, I remember.
And I hope that she's the one that kills him in the future. Because imagine how fucking great that would be. Yeah.
I will say that threads always need tying.
Yeah.
So
I'll get to the chat in a moment.
Yeah, I mean, it'll be more satisfying if you make the connections and you're like, I see.
I'm just excited for. I'm just excited to see.
I like a good build up, basically.
Yeah. It basically, I felt like that guy is the first person that's going to be kind of like a lingering baddie for a while, because he did that to Chrissy. He vamped the fuck out, and like, we're not satisfied with what happened, because it was like, we brought her back, but he still killed our
I
fucking
feel like it's
friend.
going to be a while, because that guy was pretty powerful.
He was pretty powerful, and I'm going to be real. I'm glad we didn't have. I'm actually, as a player, I'm glad he vamped out, because I'm like, we're not ready to fight him yet. We are not fucking ready. He's got some shit.
Also, that group was looking for me. WTF? Exclamation point.
That group was looking for her, yeah. I'm looking at the chat. Someone popped in asking what was going on. It's like, I haven't tried it before, but I've seen some pretty neat posts on Reddit. Guys or girls starting D&D, eventually inviting like 12 people from their neighborhood. The room was like, hell yeah, let's go. Part of my terminology.
Start small.
Yeah,
please.
I love the fact that our party is like 4.
It was originally 3.
Yeah.
You can look on YouTube and you can see these guys like Matthew Mercer.
Go watch Critical Role.
And
if you want big party.
But they're used to this kind of
stuff.
Matt's been playing for decades, and he's been running
Start small and then build up.
Yeah, oh, absolutely.
Get used to how the game works.
Like maybe 3 or 4 players.
I would say
5 most.
I would say 4 to 5.
Chaotic.
4 to 5 is good, yeah.
4 to 5 is really good. Yeah. 4, I'd say 4 is a good.
Yeah, 4 is a good mix.
Yeah.
Don't worry about party makeup like DPS, tank, and healer or anything like that.
Yeah.
There's a lot of classes that help make up for other classes.
So
it's not that important.
But I mean, definitely the first word of advice for anybody starting D&D is just go small.
Yeah, I'm totally with you.
Build up to it.
Yeah, I'm typing this on in the chat right now.
What, for one dragon fight with 4 players?
Yeah.
No additionals, there was like an hour and a half fight. Try doing that with 12 people.
Oh man, yeah.
But the 6th person they killed, and you're like, well, I didn't get to do shit.
Yeah.
That's usually me half the time. I'm sitting there like, by the time my attacks finally happen, the monster's pretty much dead.
Really
I'm like,
RP heavy, I would still avoid it because it's hard to get through everybody's story, and it's hard to make a lot of character development.
Yeah,
so
I get you.
Unless you are like dead set on getting everyone to level 20 and have all their stories taken care of, because not every party gets. That's
gonna be a campaign that'll last for a decade.
With the 4 of us, it's really hard to push story and character development in between.
Well, especially because we only have 1 session a month. It's really slow.
But I feel like also to circumvent the fact that we do only 1 session a month, you're okay with the sessions going a little longer because you get more stuff in.
Yeah.
Like I said, everyone. I feel like was everyone's agreed. Everyone's left satisfied.
Because RP takes time, and fights sometimes take a little bit. So
depending on how the fight goes, yeah. The last little quick question is going to be really, because there's not much we want to reveal too much. And I'll start first and we'll go around the other way. What is something coming up that you're most excited for? Whether it's a little hint you want to give to backstory stuff, or a little hint, or just even something that you're like, even a thread that you want to dive back into.
Or just something in game that you want.
As much as Renthis will be terrified, I'm excited for the dive back south. I'm excited. There's stuff I'm going to be working on with you. There's some more stuff with his father that I've come up with that I think is really going to twist some shit on its head. That's going to be adding more to this kind of not everything is what it seems kind of idea. That's the only way I want to explain it. But there's some cool stuff in that department, and I think having to eventually face that reality when for the last couple months he hasn't had to, it's going to make for some really interesting stuff, and I'm really excited to see that with a newer mindset and kind of a I don't want to say reform, but kind of like becoming a better person in the sense of like he kind of truly knows who he is now, how he interacts with that world with that mindset, as opposed to how he interacted with it when he was just focused on the vengeance. And I'm really excited for that. Mira, what are you most excited about for stuff coming up?
I hope there are more puzzles.
You just want more puzzles?
Yeah. I'd actually be able to contribute that time.
Suya.
I'm going to Waterdeep.
I'm about to say you dropped.
I've seen other campaigns here and there. Like I watch Incorporated, Acquisitions Incorporated, and every time they go to Waterdeep, there's always fun things that they experience.
It's gonna be cool.
It's like a main town that I know of.
As soon as Waterdeep got dropped, I'm like, that's gonna be cool.
I'm gonna find some interesting things.
That's gonna be cool, and the fact that part of your backstory is gonna be tied to.
Yeah, so I'm gonna be more for sure involved in it this time.
That's gonna be cool. That's gonna be really cool. Chrissy, what is some stuff you're most excited for that you, I should say, that you want to reveal?
Something I'm most excited for. Going further into the story, just so I can fulfill my promise, basically.
Right. Yeah.
Dick around with Suya more.
Yeah, dig around with Suya more. Pet the doggo more. Hell yeah.
Pet the doggo.
If there's anything that you can reveal, Brad, what are you excited for? Whether it's a thread or something that you've got planned that you want to drop, like what are you most excited for in the story that you've created?
Yes.
Uh-oh.
Oh.
Killing one of you.
Oh.
You already did.
You already did that.
Alright, I'll get my sheet now.
You want to do it again? Yeah, no, it's all good.
No, I'm just excited.
Don't kill me as a virgin again, please.
Let me get fucked just once.
Should we take bets of who it's probably going to end up being?
Right. But anyway, so what you were going to say?
Just killing one of you, if that's what he said.
Having the story progress.
You've got a lot written up for this story.
The most challenging, fun, and annoying part of being a DM is writing something for several pages, reading back through it at 2 a.m. and deleting it, then rewriting it at 3 a.m. the next morning.
Only for your players to everything.
Only for your players to circumvent half of it, or for something to take precedence over something else, so you have to circumvent that.
There was, to add to that illusion, and this is a quick aside, in Campaign 2 of Critical Role, Matt had this whole pirate ship fight that was supposed to happen.
Oh, yeah.
Talison's character used control water to capsize the boat and avoid the whole thing. He built he built sets, a map,
built miniatures.
He bought a fuckload of miniatures. He said he spent over a month and a half planning that fight just to have Taliesin in one move control water and capsize the fucking boat.
He's
so
like,
yeah, he'll
time
definitely
to put up a whole month's worth of work.
It's the Knolls all over again, only on a larger scale.
On a larger scale, yeah, I get you.
Something I can feel. No, we're not doing that. Sorry.
I get you.
Mm-hmm.
They're asking, can you do eating challenges, like getting stuff from the fridge and eat it, maybe
We
like
did
maybe
already
We
with the
did
meat.
that.
Yeah,
We
yeah.
did that.
Oh, that meat mountain.
we had
This
the
isn't that kind of
meat
channel,
mountain
sorry.
challenge.
Yeah,
we
no.
ate a large curly fry. Me and him had some mozzarella
We had
Yeah,
the
sticks
some
challenge.
mod sticks, yeah.
and we did the meat mountain from Arby's. And
I haven't. There's an Arby's right next to my diabetic daughter. I don't want to think about Arby's for a
The
while.
thing is, we only did that because I was alive.
An
that was an
extra
extra
life,
life
it still
stretch goal.
tastes great. It's
Any
just
other
like-
time, no,
Yeah,
we're
I
not
get
doing
you.
that.
I don't
But yeah,
want-
I think
don't want fries
if
for
anyone
lunch.
has, I would say if anyone has any other questions or things they want to say, they can. But if not, we'll go ahead and wrap this up.
Please look forward to it.
Please look forward to it. Absolutely. No, I just kind of wanted to do this. Maybe this is something we'll do on occasion. Maybe as like an arc wraps up in the story, kind of get together and kind of be like, hey, let's kind of chat about what's happened in these last 10 to 15 sessions or however long. It's like,
What's your reading here?
I'll just no.
I'm reading the chat.
The
'cause they
chat,
commented.
yeah, no, it's all good. So
It's hard for me to
it's
read this far away,
unrelated,
so
yeah,
I'm having
no.
to like squint and get
But no,
closer.
so thank you guys so much for joining us. Thank you guys for watching this. Can't wait to do this again, and we can't wait for our next session in March. And until then, we will talk to you guys later.
Peace.